We have an update within the Darius Garland story, though, in case you're like driving around trying to figure out what exactly is happening. Shams, moments ago before we got on the air, said not only is he going to miss time to start the 2025-2026 season, he was first diagnosed with the injury March 23rd in Utah, managed to end the regular season before re-aggravating and then playing through the great toe injury in the playoffs. They need to come up with a better designation. Great
the Sergeant Hulka.
Yeah, I saw your tweet on that.
That's the Sergeant Hulka is the big toe.
Yeah. I can't
repeat that movie conversation on the air.
But like the great toe has such importance to it, has such significance to it.
Well, Katie was asking before the show, she's like, I never knew it was the great toe. And I'm like, yeah, it's the big toe, a.k.a. the Sergeant Hulka.
Yeah. So do you think this impacts Darius Garland's trade value at all?
I think it impacts it a little bit. If anything, I think and validate is the wrong word to use in this situation, but it was kind of an I told you so moment for me, because the moment that it came out that he had this injury, I was like, you watch, we're going to have another Jared Allen situation where in the offseason at some point, we're going to get the email that Darius Garland underwent successful surgery to repair his big toe. And here we are, it's, June. And what do you know? He has this surgery to repair whatever injury he suffered to that big toe. And we went through this last year with Jared Allen, not so much with the surgery, but with the rib cage, where fans were just absolutely destroying Jared for not being available in that Celtics series.
Well, and so was one half of the Morris twins too.
Right. And it turns out it wasn't bruised ribs. It was a broken rib. In this case, it was more than just clearly a sore big toe. And Darius kind of alluded to the severity of it in his...
Didn't they at one point, they called it a sprain is where they got to?
I believe so, yeah. And so in the locker cleanout day, media availability day, the day after they got eliminated by the Pacers, Garland kind of laid out what he went through. He had to have a metal wedge in between the toe and to protect it, and all this stuff he had to go through just so he could get himself back on the court and be there, but for his teammates. But Jonathan, it's another situation where the Cavaliers downplayed an injury. Their player just absolutely got destroyed for being marshmallow soft by fans and some media, not all media.
There was a lot of different parts of the media that was just, they were destroying Darius Garland for not playing through it. It's like, if you could play in the first two games, then you should be able to play in these other games. And it was a whole laundry. Stephen A., lost his mind on Darius Garland.
Yeah, so I feel like the organization, once again, did a disservice to their player, having him drugged through the ringer by fans and media over what ended up being a very significant injury.
Well, and the hard part about that, Daryl, is now if you have a bunch of people that want to come back, and we'll get to this side of this in a little bit, but a bunch of people want to come back and say, well, the playoffs come with an asterisk now. Maybe you don't tear up the team based off of something like this if it really was injured. All these other storylines that you can come up with, where if we had known it in the moment that it was that serious, maybe we look at it just a little bit different.
It doesn't change my view on where this team is.
Okay, all right, so let's talk first off. How much of his value is actually taken away? Because I saw a lot of Cavs fans online in different spots trying to be like, well, now you can't trade him, and now it's just Jared Allen as the only one that's on board. I don't think that's true. Listen, if you're out for 4 or 5 months with an injury, now it does highlight the fact that the man is made of glass at this point. That's not great. It's like another year, Darius Garland goes down with a significant injury. It does add into the equation of, okay, is he maybe just not the most healthiest human we've ever seen, which is something you can take back to his Vanderbilt days. The reason why I didn't play in college was because of that injury that he had, or at least played very briefly in college. The point being, when it comes to Darius, does this mean the Cavs have taken him off the trade market? I don't think so, because I feel like in this equation, 4 or 5 months down the line, any team that acquires him, you're not caring about what happens before December. You're December on. You're January on.
Right.
So you're trading him with the idea that he'll ramp up, he'll get back up to speed, and he'll be the player that he was. You're not worried about October basketball.
No. And look, you bring up his injury history, fair or not, it is part of the equation. Your best ability
I remember 3
is your
years
availability.
ago.
And he's always getting hurt. And unfortunately, he always seems to get hurt at the worst possible time. And I'm not dogging on Darius because of that. He doesn't want to get hurt. He's not doing it intentionally.
Right.
Fans that were in the most absurd take that I saw during the playoffs, and okay, so it doesn't take a lot to make my blood boil, but this one really, got me upset.
Yeah, you're easily prodded.
Yeah, it's easy to poke the bear here, but what really upset me is the fans were like, Darius is on vacation during the playoffs. Like, he just wants to sit back because I guess he was on the bench and, standing up and cheering for his teammates or something. And fans were like, well, if you can do that, you should be able to go out there and play. What are you doing? He just wants to take a vacation during the second round of the playoffs with the season on the line. What is he doing? He has no heart. And I'm just like, come on now. Like,
it's also the same people that called in and was like, I stubbed my toe at a Holiday Inn one time.
Me?
I know what this feels like. Was that you?
Yeah, I did a whole segment on my Sunday show about how
so you're the problem.
I have no pain threshold whatsoever. I dropped an iPad on my toe last week, and it still
and your toe did not need 4 to 5 months of recovery time and a major surgery, right?
It feels like it needed it.
Can we agree though that it was not the same? It was apples to bowling balls. It was not the same comp.
No, it still hurts today. I limped into work again today. I'm playing hurt once again. This is what I do.
There's two things in sports radio that are insane for people: back injuries, because everyone knows how problematic and serious those are, but then ultimately develops into sciatica, and everyone's like, oh, I've had sciatica. Yeah, I have too. We're not dealing with the same things with some of these athletes.
Crack the back
injuries.
When you wake up, crack the back before you go to bed. It's just a daily routine for me.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but it's not the same. It's just
hips,
not the
knees,
same.
And ankles just come along for the ride.
When your toe needs 4 to 5 months of recovery time after surgery, then I'll say that you guys are equal.
Look, it's still very colorful. I put on my socks today, took a look at it. I was like, yeah, okay, that's great. It's we're getting there.
Yeah. Did you get there?
No, it's still not there. It still
not
hurts.
There. It won't be. 216-474 below 92. As the trade value of Darius Garland been impacted with this news, I think the only thing it highlights for me, Daryl, is just how injured of a human he actually is.
Yeah.
And I think we're just going to have to accept that if you're dealing with a trade partner, like if everyone brings up Orlando with Jalen Suggs, if I'm Orlando now, if I make that deal, it comes with the idea that, listen, the fans are not going to care about what happens in October if you're a Magic fan, but they are going to care about, did you trade for damaged goods? Did you trade for something that is just ultimately a broken toy? And I don't know that Darius Garland can beat those charges right now.
It's frustrating for him, I know. We make the joke, can people keep their hands, arms, elbows, shoulders away from his face, right? We make those jokes. But it is a legitimate concern, his injury history, that it's unfortunate, but it is part of his story. And once again, at the most inopportune time, he suffered what now has turned out to be a pretty significant injury that the organization, once again, tried to downplay, which once again got one of their star players excoriated by its fan base and the national media for being too soft and unwilling to step up and play hurt.
Does the toe injury let Darius off the hook for the playoffs, and how does Darius' toe injury affect his trade value? Now, Chris Fedor, who's going to be with me tomorrow and Thursday, and I'm dying to find out what he thinks and how this all impacts everything. But this was him over the weekend right here on The Fan with Earl and Spencer on Saturday. Here's what he said about Darius.
I keep coming back to the same thing. Guys, I keep coming back to Darius has to go. Like, if you're going to reimagine the offense, if you're going to reconfigure the roster, and if you're going to reset your salary cap situation, this is a top-heavy team. This is a top-heavy roster. This is a team that is going to get really, really expensive as we continue to move forward. But if you're trying to accomplish all three of those things in one off season, there is one move that allows you to do that, and it's trading Darius. And it comes with this caveat, right? The package that they would be offered for Darius would have to be one that I would say yes to. It would have to be one that they would say yes to. And it would have to be one that I believe would make them a better basketball team and increase their chances of taking the next step as an organization and competing for a championship.
Now, I don't think that this injury takes a trade off the table. I said that last segment. I'll say it with you guys right now. But I do wonder if it impacts his value. Like, if we're talking about whether or not, Chris mentions, in my mind, he didn't say Godfather offer, but in my mind, he mentioned something that was a very heavy package, something that would tilt it in the Cavs' favor and let him accomplish several different things. That offer, I'm not so sure still exists, because Darius is very much seen as an injured basketball player. But how much was this injury actually impacting his value out there? Well, I guess we'll find out, Daryl, but it doesn't seem to be like it would be a massive amount, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, look, he's going to be back close to the start of the season and available. I don't think it's because when you make trades for players that are coming off of surgery or whatever, the trade is made with the understanding that the player underwent surgery and is not going to immediately pass a physical, because every trade you make, they always put in the fine print, pending physical,
yeah.
right? And it certainly, I don't think, takes away from his ability to be the dynamic player that he is once he comes back healthy. Problem is he's always getting hurt. And so the challenge for Kobe Altman is to, if he does make a move with Darius, is to minimize the injury concerns of the team that he's working with and, basically sell the greatness of Darius Garland. Because Darius, when he's healthy, is a phenomenal player.
Right, but it's
the problem
when he's
is
healthy
he's often injured and he's small. And anytime my biggest criticism of Darius isn't even about the injuries. It's about any time a team gets rough and physical with him, he just can't respond.
Yeah.
And we've seen this in the playoffs. And so,
for sure. I mean, again, there's multiple games I can point to. Game 3 against the Knicks 2 years ago, Game 7 against Orlando last year, and then it's just. But we've seen this with him. Like, there are certain games. I go back to Game 7 against Orlando. I mean, that's a game you have to be winning, and you have to take care of business. You're down 18 at the half, and part of that reason why is Darius was an absolute and utter no-show in that spot.
Yeah, that's how you neutralize Darius. Is you get after him a little bit, you get physical with him. You don't do anything dirty, but you body him a little bit, make him feel you, bringing the ball up the floor when you get into. Across the timeline there, get up on him when he gets the ball in his hands and make him defer to somebody else or make a bad decision, force a shot, force a dribble drive, whatever. So I don't know that this particular injury is going to take away from his trade value. But I will say this, Jonathan, it does not alter my perception of what the Cavaliers need to do. To Chris Fedor's point, like, they can't run this thing back.
Well, and so that's the other side of this coin, right? Does it spotlight the idea that if you, let's say you make a trade with Jared Allen and you get rid of him, how much can you depend on Darius Garland now at this point?
Well, I mentioned this
because you're banking. That's what you're doing. You're banking on Darius being the one that is healthy and injured. And now for back-to-back postseasons, we've seen him not be able to do that. But you're banking on that health at the end of the season and the ability to actually be on the court.
So when I was on with Ken and Anthony this morning, they had brought up the Darius situation, Chris's comments over the weekend.
And Chris will join us again, by the way, tomorrow. So we'll get his full-fledged thoughts there, especially on the latest as well.
Yeah, and I said my list of priorities for Kobe Altman this offseason is, 1, find anybody to take Isaac Okoro. That guy just can't play.
Iceman. Oh, Mac hates to hear it. Wait. This is supposed to be a bully-free week for Mac, and you're already starting off bullying him like this? Is his favorite player of all time?
I didn't get the memo.
You didn't?
I was not included on that inter-office correspondence.
All right, we'll get back to your back to your Okoro point, and then we'll understand. Well, Ice is
there is no Peterlin pass coming for me for Isaac Okoro.
It's a soft spot. 3:40 today. Please be listening. Go ahead.
But he can play defense. His offense is atrocious. There's a reason they leave him wide open all the time. It's not a compliment. It's because he can't shoot.
Yeah,
he
looks like the Moses Cleveland statue in the corner.
They've got to get rid of him, okay? Then the next move has to be Jared Allen. Find someone who wants and needs a center, because I think once you move Jared Allen, that completely will open everything up for Evan Mobley. And you can play like you saw the Indiana Pacers play with 1 big, 4 smalls. You've seen the Thunder play 1 big, 4 smalls. That's what the Cavaliers need to do, because, well, whether you and I agree, disagree, like it, don't like it, that's the NBA. It's run up the floor, chuck some threes, go get the rebound. If you miss, create an extra possession. The reason Jarrett struggles in the rebounding area at times is because, the Karams are coming off the rim. It's some insane angles and bouncing back out to the perimeter. And as we saw against the Pacers, and we knew this going into the series, Jarrett struggles moving from the rim to the perimeter and from the perimeter back to the rim.
All right, so you're trading Okoro, you're trading Allen. Are you also trading Garland too?
Then I get to Darius Garland, and depending what Kobe is able to do with those first two moves, then you contemplate, okay, now what do I do with Darius? My point in laying all that out, Jonathan, is that Darius is number 3 on my list of players that I would be willing to part with.
Does this injury change that at all for you?
No.
Does it bump it up? Because I really do question how much you can depend on Darius now moving forward. I mean, and this isn't – I'm going to make a bad comparison here. Understand it's only on the football field side of things, and even that it doesn't go the full distance. Play with me for a second.
Is it going to be as bad as my cabin week for Nick and the movie Tag?
No, close though. The reason why there's a million reasons why, but one of the main reasons why I would never tell an NFL quarterback that you need to get in the Deshaun Watson business is because he can't stay on the field. Like, even if he could play at this point, he can't stay on the field. And I wonder if we're entering that territory with Darius Garland. I mean, we've been talking about injuries with him since before he was drafted, but they haven't subsided. They haven't gone away. Now with this toe injury, another 4 to 5 months, he always finds some way to get himself injured. Maybe don't use your head as a battering ram into people's hips might be a good start, but he always finds a way to get injured.
And that's the way he drives the basketball, though. I think what he does is it's a natural protection for him that he crouches down when he does the dribble drive, because he's not only trying to protect the ball, but he's trying to protect himself. And then that's ultimately what leads to his face ending up connected to somebody's shoulder, elbow, hand, whatever.
And I love watching him play, and I'll watch him in a regular season game all day, every day. He's a joy to watch. But the reality is if they bring him back, I'm just going to be sitting there thinking to myself, at what point is he going to end up getting injured, and what can he actually do for this team long term?
He's number 3 on my priority list, though, to address this offseason. That's my whole point. He's not number 1. Like, I feel like they got to make the Okoro move first to help them with the whole cap situation, and maybe create a little flexibility there. You move Jared Allen, because I think moving Jared is absolutely essential. And this is coming from somebody who is a huge
I love Jared
Allen fan. I love him as a player. I love him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's a business decision for me. I've watched 3 straight postseasons where it's been a struggle for him. And again, the style of play when you're watching the teams that are in the NBA Finals right now, the Pacers and the Thunder there, and I'll even throw in the Knicks there. Like, this Cavs team is currently constructed. Well, it didn't beat the Pacers. They weren't going to beat the Thunder, and I'm convinced they weren't going to get through the Knicks either. So they have to change something this offseason. I don't know if it's one member of the core 4 or 2. I'll admit, last year I was wrong, because I was all about blowing up the core 4 last year, doing these 2 moves with Darius and Jarrett.
I don't think it made you wrong in any sort of way.
They won 64 games and got the top seed in the East.
No, you did nothing in the postseason.
I understand that.
The whole emphasis in all of this is what happens in the postseason. Like, I think, there were so many people that already admitted defeat in being, did we break up the 2 bigs? Did we break up the 2 guards? And ultimately, I don't care about 64 regular season wins.
There's only 2 untouchables on this roster. Their names are Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it, I am indifference, the wrong word. I am open to whatever moves that Kobe Altman can make this offseason to try and make this an NBA championship contender. Because right now, they are a regular season top seed in the conference team, but in the postseason, they're a second round exit at best.
Do you think the toe injury let Darius off the hook for the playoffs?
No. For fans, no.
Okay.
For me, absolutely. Because again, I sarcastically said at the time, I can't wait to get the email that he's having surgery, and it was going to come in June or July. And here we are in June. We got the email. He had surgery. Doesn't, I don't think fans are going to let him off the hook. But for me, the moment he told us he had to have a metal plate in his shoe so that he could play, that got him off the hook.
So I think it lets him off the hook for me from a playing standpoint. But the problem, and this is going to sting even worse for Darius, is that it just creates a bigger issue in my head, which is, okay, you're just a very injured human. I can't rely on you anymore. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't this way. You have a lot of talent. You're still young. You could be a very good basketball player in this league, but you're never going to be healthy for an entire year. It's just not how you operate. I hate that it's this way. But the undersized guard thing has really come back to go ahead and bite you in the you-know-what, and I can't depend on you.
I think that if this injury does anything, it might prompt Kobe Altman to hit the eject key on Darius Garland and move him.